Okay, picture this. Imagine freezing in a giant snowstorm, wearing your absolute thickest winter coat, and then whoosh, in the blink of an eye, you're sweating in a baking hot desert. How in the world can our one single planet have such completely different places at the exact same time?
Well, welcome to today's Incredible Explainer. Get ready because we're going on a wild adventure across the globe to discover Earth's climate zones.
So, let's dive right into this giant mystery. Why exactly do some places feel hot, cold, wet, or dry? Think of our planet kind of like a massive storybook, and Earth's different weather areas are the main characters. We call these characters climate zones, and every single zone wears a completely different weather outfit depending on where it lives on the map.
Now, before we start exploring, we gotta talk about the cool scientists and tools that help us solve this global weather mystery. A person who studies weather conditions is called a meteorologist. And they use some pretty awesome gadgets, like a hygrometer. That's a special instrument that measures humidity, which is basically just how much moisture is floating around in the air.
Section 1. The freezing snow zones. You might want to bundle up for this one because we're heading to the absolute icy top and bottom of the world. Negative 88 degrees Celsius. That is an actual record low temperature recorded in Antarctica, which is part of the polar climate zone. It's super cold and completely dry all year round. Seriously, imagine an ice cube tray but the size of an entire continent.
Moving just a bit away from the poles, we hit the subarctic zones. You can find these in places like Russia and Canada, but actually only in the northern hemisphere. Imagine a place where winter lasts almost the entire year, and snow just covers the ground endlessly. Summer is cool and might only stick around for a single month. It's like you blink and summer is already gone.
Now, all of these incredibly tough plants and animals make up something called a biome. A biome is simply the distinct living organisms that survive best in a specific climate zone. Can you imagine what kind of amazing, fluffy, or freezing water-loving creatures could possibly survive out there in the ice?
Section 2. Mild, wild, and warm. The weather here gets a little friendlier, but trust me, it can still pack quite a punch.
Here's kind of a crazy fact for you. Cool, temperate zones only cover a tiny sliver, just 7% of the world's land surface. But guess what? A lot of people consider them the absolute best places to live. Why? Well, because they have cold winters but beautifully mild summers. Places like Northern Europe, Northern China, and North America fall right into this lucky 7%.
But you know, what if you want it even warmer? Let's compare the warm temperate zone with the Mediterranean zone. Warm temperate zones, which are also known as humid subtropical, are mostly on the east coast of continents. They get a ton of rain all year, have hot, humid summers, and can even get wild storms like tornadoes and hurricanes. On the flip side, the Mediterranean zone, often on the west coasts, is super mild. It has long, dry, hot summers and gets almost all its rain during the cooler winters.
Section 3. Hot deserts and wet tropics. Better grab your water bottles because we're heading to the sweatiest, thirstiest parts of our map.
Okay, time for a quick trivia question. Think really hard about this one. What do you think is the absolute driest place on the entire Earth? I'll give you a second. Got a guess?
If you guessed the Atacama Desert in Chile, you nailed it. It gets a mere 0.04 inches of average rainfall in a whole year. That is practically zero. Some deserts around the world don't even receive 10 inches of rain in 10 years. Really, only prickly bushes or tough cacti can survive there.
So how exactly do places get that dry? Well, sometimes mountains literally steal the rain. This is called the rain shadow effect. See, the mountain forces warm air up into the sky. It cools down and falls as rain on one side, which we call the windward side. But by the time the air crosses over the top of the mountain to the other side, the leeward side, there's no rain left. That dry side is living in a rain shadow.
Arid or desert-type climates actually cover nearly 33% of Earth's land. That is a massive part of our planet. In places like the Sahara Desert, the daytime temperatures can reach a scorching 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. But watch out, at night the temperature can drop all the way down near freezing. These hot and dry zones are mostly found along the 30-degree latitude lines, and that's thanks to cold water currents pushing dry air over the land.
Surviving out there is incredibly tough, but animals adapt in some pretty amazing ways. Did you know a thirsty camel can drink 40 gallons of water in just 10 minutes? Yep, 40 gallons.
They can actually store water in their bloodstreams, which allows them to go for days without a single drop to drink in the blazing heat.
Now, right near the equator, we find the exact opposite of the dry desert, the tropical zones. These regions are hot, super humid, and soaking wet all year long. They normally get more than 200 millimeters of rain annually. It's basically one giant, warm, never-ending rainstorm. Section 4. High up in the mountains. Go ahead and lace up your hiking boots because we're climbing high into the sky to explore our final destination.
Let's take a virtual hike up a giant mountain together, like the 20,000-foot plateau of Tibet. When you start at the bottom, you feel totally normal seasons. But as you climb up, the temperature drops 1 degree Celsius for every 165 meters you go. Pretty soon, you pass the tree line. That's a literal line on the mountain where it suddenly becomes way too harsh and cold for trees to survive. Keep climbing, and when you reach the top, it is freezing cold all year round, even if the bottom of the mountain is perfectly warm. Elevation completely changes everything.
Section 5. Global Climate Adventure Recap. Wow, what a journey today! We've traveled from freezing ice to sweating deserts and way up freezing mountains. All right, let's lock in everything we've discovered. The polar and subarctic zones wear a super cold, snowy, and dry outfit. The arid or desert zones are rocking a very hot, dry outfit with freezing nights. The tropical zones are wearing something hot, humid, and wet all year long. And the highlands? Well, their outfit just gets colder and colder the higher up you climb. So here's a fun question for you to think about. Out of all these amazing places, which climate zone would you want to live in? And what would you do to survive the weather? Really think about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this awesome explainer of Earth's climate zones. If you had fun learning with us today, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow along so you never miss our next big adventure. Catch you next time!